Thank you. I hope everybody's well. Firstly, I want to thank Jim and Catherine for helping get this set up because I am an absolute prehistoric, so I appreciate Catherine and Jim's help on this. I also want to thank everybody who submitted questions. Some of them may be answered as we go along through the slides. If not, if you feel your question isn't answered, just email us and we'll get back to you with your individual situations. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we go through the slides, if that's okay. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to say is it's really important for you to look at the website under the Practicum. Information changes every day and we put it up as quickly as possible. So please remember to look at our website, the Practicum website, for more information, plus the FAQs, because we add FAQs as we go along. It's very important to do that. Let me think. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you off the top is that for the summer, university only gave us directives that practicums are remote. We now have new directives that say practicums are allowed to be in person coming for your practicum 2. They may be in person. However, there are a number of measures that must be met in order for that to happen. Partly responsibility for you that you have to do, partly responsibility for the organization and the field instructors to do. As long as the measures, the protective measures are in place, because your safety is #1 and the most important for us. Once the measures are in place, we'll be able to move forward with in-person practicums. Now, again, the university said that in-person practicums are permitted, but we are now learning that some organizations are not going to be able to offer us the same amount of practicums that they did in the past because of social distancing, because of physical distancing. So their numbers are reduced, even though they're offering in-person practicums. The one thing that is absolutely the most important, irrespective of the setting that you're going to be in, is that you cannot, and the field instructor cannot put you in a situation where somebody is COVID positive or presumed to be COVID positive. Absolutely no. No matter what, if it's in a healthcare facility and it's that particular service, it cannot happen under any circumstances. Again, your safety is absolutely #1. So you're going to be asked, and we'll talk about this later, you're going to be asked to complete a module ahead of time. It's going to be on Quarkus for you. We're going to open it for you and give you permission. Anybody who's registered in SWK 4702 will have access to this Quarkus module. It could take between 1 and 3 hours to complete. At the same time, the Practicum office is giving the field instructors and the organizations a checklist, all of them to assure us that protective measures are in place. Okay, so that's just, I wanted to just let you know things changed just immediately, just the last few days around in-person practicums as opposed to remote. And the last thing is there may be some organizations that in fact, even though the university says it's okay, they as an organization may feel that they do not want in-person practicums and they will continue to have remote practicums. Our pass, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, will outline if it's remote or it's in person only. I'm going to go to the slides now. For some of you, you may know, these are all the people in the Practicum office. You know that they're on the slides. Hopefully some of you have had an opportunity to read these before, that they're, any one of us will be able to answer your questions. I omitted, I wanted to remind you that this session is being recorded. Just to remind you, if you can't stay through all of it, we're going to be posting it later. To confirm, these are the details that are important to you as well. Typically, Practicum 2 is about 518 to 525 hours each. Because of COVID, our accrediting body, which is the CASWE, the Canadian Association for Social Work Education, has reduced the number of required hours from 337.5 or 48.2 days. That's a minimum. There are some field instructors who feel that they want, as the second point indicates, they may feel that learning will only occur if it's more than 337 hours. And that's a discussion that you'll have at your interview. If it's by hour, if you're logging by hours and keeping a journal by hours, again, 337 to 518, or if it's an 8-hour day, you got to have lunch, you got to have something to eat. So you can, it's a 7-hour day. Students in Practicum 2 can start anywhere from now, which is again in response to COVID. As long as completion, you can't go past the last day. The final evaluation happens first week in April. As long as the final evaluation is due, you can start between now and the fall. And if it's a regular schedule, typically it's going to be 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Most likely you're going to have classes Monday, Tuesday, depending on how those classes are structured. If they're online at any time, that you can have a practicum during a Monday and Tuesday. However, if the class is structured at a 2 to 5 on a Monday or Tuesday, you cannot miss a class in order to have a practicum, to attend practicum. Again, as I mentioned, the Quercus training, you'll have all the instructions once you are given access to Quercus and you open it, it'll be very self-explanatory on your completing it. Now, some of you may know, and I'll just go over them again. This year, again, is a bit different. The faculty has expanded what is allowed as a practicum. If somebody is in a current social service or healthcare setting and there's an opportunity for a practicum that is paid or volunteer, you fill out an application. It's reviewed by our assistant dean, Arlene McKee, and it may go forward as a practicum if it meets all the standards. As I said before, practicums before that would have only started in September can start anywhere from now through November. There are a number of opportunities that are outside the PASS process, which we're going to talk about, the PASS being our web-based database. And all those opportunities are listed now on the website, on our website. And they're practicum opportunities that are listed on the website because the field instructor has agreed to start now before we open up the PAS system. So as I said, on the website, not on this web-based database, on the website, you'll see competitive practicums. They're the ones that the field instructor has offered a practicum. The setting has offered a practicum, but in fact, they've also offered it to other academic institutions. It's not just protected for a U of T student. If you want, you follow the application as set out by the setting. And if you're successful and you are offered that practicum, you don't have to go through the PASS process. If you apply to one of these competitive practicums or one of the ones on the website, you can still go through the PASS process because there's no guarantee that you're going to be, that a U of T student is going to be successful in getting the practicum. Also this year, because classes are online, students may seek out practicums in their home community, state, province, and not come to Toronto. And if you're thinking about that, if that's an option, just contact the practicum office and we'll work it out. Let's talk about the practicum administration system, which most of you are going to be part of. For first-year students rolling into year 2, you're probably familiar with it. For advanced standing students who are new to the faculty, firstly, welcome to the faculty. And we'll tell you a little bit about the PAS. It is a web-based database. You have a profile on it, you have an account, and each field instructor has an account. And the practicum unit is described on the PAS. What you're going to learn, who the field instructor is going to be, the location, all will be there for you to make decisions. This is very different from ACORN. It's not ACORN. ACORN is the university-based database. It's important when you get your U of T email that you go into the PAS, which I'll describe in a few minutes. You go in and you update any information for us because we need to be able to contact you. It's through the PAS as well that you're going to do your self-evaluations at midterm and final. And it's through the PAS, again, field instructors are self-directed, so they're going to complete the midterm and the final evaluations through the PAS. The way the PAS works, we in the Practicum office have been working with settings and organizations who have offered practicums. We set up the practicums on the PAS. There's a lot of reading. The field instructors are the ones that complete the information because they know the message, they know what they want to convey to you. So you're going to have as much information as you need to make decisions about selecting their particular practicum. You're going to filter by your field of study, and it's easy to filter by your field of study, and you're going to see all the practicums that are offered in your field of study. What we're going to ask you to do is read them all. You're going to select 5. There's a Form A that we ask you to complete that rank order. You're going to rank order your 5 selections. We're going to give you a date by which you have to submit this Form A. We run the computer program, and for most of you, the computer program will match you with 1 interview out of the 5 that you've selected. Once you're matched, you're going to attend most likely a virtual interview this summer. And unless there is a compelling reason, either from your field instructor's side or from yours, that this practicum should not go forward, we are going to assume that it's going to be a confirmed practicum. And if we don't hear from you or we don't hear from the field instructors, again, we're going to assume that it is a confirmed practicum, and we're going to confirm the match on the PAS. So I'm going to repeat myself a couple of times, bear with me. You're going to filter by your field of study. You're going to choose 1. You're going to also note that many of the practicums are actually designated in a number of fields of study, which means that there are your colleague students are also going to be looking at the same practicums. You're going to note direct, indirect, or mixed settings. Direct meaning it's working directly with recipients of service. Indirect is most likely research policy and other indirect tasks. And mixed, of course, would be a hybrid of both direct and indirect. Practicums are designated remote or in-person only, but as we know, even though as they say remote, it may be that the organization now is in the process of moving to in-person. They had directives only to have remote, but now they're moving. So we have to kind of be flexible and be accepting of their time frame till they kind of regroup and get themselves back into an in-person kind of, headset. The practicum, as I said, the PAS, each description is very detailed. There's a lot of information, and there's a lot of information about the requirements that any student must meet in order to attend that practicum. I'll tell you more about it. Again, also if you're a combined or collaborative program, remember that when you're selecting your 5 choices. Now, some of the requirements may be, certainly for healthcare, there are strict requirements that have been set out by the Public Hospital Act. That you as a student, if you are going to be in a healthcare and a hospital setting, must complete the immunization requirements. We will send you all the information. We will send you the form. What you have to do is have your healthcare provider complete the form, and then it's forwarded in confidence to an external nurse meaning the Practicum office does not see it. It's your private information. And she evaluates the information and clears you or lets you know what's still missing. Other requirements, maybe a driver's license, use of your own car, evening or weekend work, two-step TB is very common. N95 mask fitting, very common. However, as you can imagine right now, it may be difficult to get that done and fitted because you need to be fitted for that. So, some may ask for a second language, some may ask for comfort with the population, some may ask for individuals living in the community. And quite a number ask for professional documentation, ability to record keep and report in a professional way. Those are just some examples of some of the requirements that you're going to see when you open up the pass. As I talked about the immunization, if you're in a healthcare, again, forwarded directly from your healthcare provider to our external nurse. There are going to be some costs, as you can imagine. The most common one would be the mask fitting, again delayed because of the current situation. And the vulnerable sector screening, pretty well most organizations ask for that. That's in Toronto, it costs $20. We in the Practicum office have the application. It has to be witnessed by us, and we could figure out how to do that, how to do that remotely because we can't see each other. So the Toronto Police Services has made some revisions and has helped us, allowed us to do it without, without seeing you directly. They've allowed us to sign the form without it. And if you live in a jurisdiction that's outside of Toronto, you have to go to your police station. You have to ask them for the vulnerable sector check. And if you need a letter to support your being a student with us, no problem. Just email us. We'll write the letter and we'll send it to you. Some healthcare facilities may have, in addition to the Quarkus module that you have to complete, which is for your safety and it's around COVID, healthcare settings overall have also pre-onboarding modules that need to be completed. They'll be addressed again. You'll see them written in the requirements on the individual practicum descriptions on the pass. I'm just going to remind you, if you're from another jurisdiction or you're from Ontario, please check in with the regulatory board, the social work regulatory board of college in the jurisdiction where you want to register after you graduate, just as another piece of information to help you make selections for your practicums that will meet their entry to practice requirements. If you think that accommodations are required to help you be successful in your practicum, you must register with accessibility services. Then yourself and your accessibility officer would contact us and we'd work together to secure a practicum that makes sense for you. Okay, here, I'm going to give you, once you're in, and it's easy to get into the PAS. You're going to just go to the Practicum website, the faculty website, the Practicum, the drop down, you're going to see PAS and it's going to go log in. And what you're going to do is you're going to log in with the email that you made. Now, if you're a year one student and you're moving into year two, you have your email and you know your password now. If you're a new incoming advanced standing student and you have not updated the PAS with your U of T email, use the email that you had when you made your application, because that's what we have registered on the PAS. You're going to use that email as your ID, and then it's going to say password, which you don't have, of course, and it'll say forget your password. So you'll go forget your password and you'll be generated a temporary password. It will let you into this screen. This is what it's going to look like for all the practicum units. You're going to see that it's, you're going to filter by your field of study. You see that we circled in red. and it lists all the practicums that are available in your field of study. Click on any one and it'll open it up, and it will give you all the information that you need in order to make decisions. And if you notice from the right on the specialization now called field of study, social justice and diversity and mental health and health for the first one. So students from both those fields of study will be looking at that particular practicum. The next one, you'll notice it's children, family, social justice and diversity, mental health and health. So students from all three will be looking at that practicum. And if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll see red. Now that says none left, meaning that there's none left, but you won't see that when you open it up. But what you will see in red is when the Form A that I talked about a few minutes ago is submitted by 10 people or more, you will be alerted to that. So it will give you a piece of information to say, there are a lot of students who are also interested in this practicum. You may decide to change your mind. So you're going to see a couple of things that are in red. You're also going to see when new ones trickle in, and they trickle in all the time, you're going to see new. Also in red, you're going to see updated. When a field instructor goes in and decides that they want to edit their description, you're going to see that it's updated. We're trying to give you as much information to make an informed decision before you make your five selections. This is the Form A that I'm talking about. And if you see that there are 5 choices, there's a drop-down menu, and you're just going to click in the ones that you want to be considered by the computer program. Just what I said, the red will pop up, updated and new will pop up. Now, you could submit the Form A as many times as you want until the final date and time. That's why the red is important. You'll start to see if people put things in, put the Form A in, and you see a red pop up that 10 have already selected it. You can go back and reevaluate your situation and maybe resubmit again. You don't have to, but you may. But you may submit as many times as you wish. The Practicum office is only going to consider the absolute last submission at the date and time. As I said before, the past changes all the time also. Practicums are admitted, they trickle in, but also at the same time, practicums are withdrawn unexpectedly for loads of reasons. The setting may no longer be able to support field instruction. They have mergers. Project funding has been withdrawn. There are loads of reasons why field instructors and organizations, unfortunately, and they are very regrettable, and I know that they feel bad about it. Again, Form A, I repeat it because I know you can go back to the slides as many times as you want. When we run the program, the aim of the program is that as many of you will be matched with one of your 5 selections. However, there may be some of you that may not be matched. It really depends on your selection. From time to time, you guys just all bunch up sometimes to the same organizations, and only one student can end up being matched to that one. It may be that at the first run of the pass, you're not going to get matched, but that's not uncommon. It's actually quite common. We're going to ask you, we're going to let you know before we open it. We're going to let you know, we're going to ask you to go back and select again. We absolutely prioritize and protect any new ones that trickle in for students who were not matched at the first round. Students matched at the first round will go forward and initiate contact for the interview. But in fact, any ones that trickle in, even if they're organizations where somebody who was matched really wanted it, we absolutely protect them for students who did not get matched the first computer run. So as I said, when you're matched, we just go forward and contact the field instructor or field instructors. There's sometimes more than one field instructor. The field instructors also, because as I said, they also have access to the PAS. They're going to see your name. They're going to wait to hear from you. You know, with this slide, I don't know. Interviews most likely will be remote. I figured yes, if we're going to get it done soon, most likely that will be the case. Now, I want to just make a point of, most of you have been on interviews for volunteer work, for prior practicums. The depth of the interview for each organization may vary. Some field instructors, it may be very informal and casual and just getting to know you and getting to know what you want to learn. However, some may be very, very structured. They're gonna, you know, want to know what you did in your undergraduate experience, your volunteer work. They may ask you to respond to case scenarios, write sample case notes or process recordings. As I said, professional writing is very important to many settings. And at the same time, they may be asking you to meet with the team virtually. So kind of anticipate it being anything. You probably want to ask the field instructors, if they want to receive your resume in advance. Some may not. And of course, you're going to let them know what you wish to learn. And as I said before, unless we hear from you that it doesn't feel like a fit for you, or the field instructors, we're going to make the assumption that it's going forward. So now we're going to assume that it would have been a September 16th start. That was the official schedule. If you and your field instructors negotiate a different schedule, that's okay, because we're all working together on this. We're all trying to ensure that you get a rich learning experience. It's just a matter of letting us know, and the Practicum office will ensure that the PAS reflects the schedule, because we have to ensure that the midterm and the final evaluation are set up properly. And as I said, as I said before, if you accept a competitive or a unique one, or one that's outside the GTA, one that was on the website before, you don't have to go through the PAS process if you don't want to, if you accepted it. Certainly, if you have personal circumstances and you need to speak with the Practicum office, absolutely contact us. And we'll discuss the situation, and we'll see where to go from there. We'll strategize. Okay. Hi, Megan. International practicums. Now, we wrote this because generally we had exchange programs with Melbourne, Scotland, and Israel, of which now, as you imagine, they're temporarily on hold. However, if there are international students, if one of you guys are international students and you require support, my colleague Megan, who's just waved on the on Zoom, is your go-to person.
Can I just interrupt, Mindy? My email is incorrect on that slide.
Okay.
But any of the international students I've already communicated with. So if you want to email me, just use the email that you normally do to get in touch with me. Thanks, Mindy.
Okay. Yeah, we have partner organizations. We work with quite a number of organizations, and they have set out really clear protocol about how they are willing to offer practicums to our students. The Practicum office is the go-to. I'm the conduit. My colleague's son, Mel, Denise, and Catherine, we're the go-to people. They asked us not to ask you, please do not contact them for any personal or informal arrangement. But if you are wondering about a practicum, or you don't see it, or you're curious about it, just contact us in the Practicum office. Most likely we have a background story on it, and we could give you more information about it. Okay, here's the important thing as well. Here's our schedule. On July 22, We're going to open the pass at noon for you to start reading, and there's loads of reading, the practicums that are available in your field of study. We're going to give you a few days. And as I said, between July 22nd and July 27th, you could submit that Form A as many times as you want. But July 27 at 8:59 is the last submission date. And that's the one that we're taking for running the computer program. And we're looking, if all goes well and all the work can get done, that on Wednesday, July 29th at 5 p.m., we're going to open the pass so that you can see where you're matched. Again, students who are not matched by the computer program will have already been contacted. Students who were not matched will look at the pass, read all the options that are there, and on a daily basis, email the Practicum office their selections. And on a daily basis, the Practicum office will continue to make matches with students who were not originally matched through the computer program. There will be an assigned faculty field liaison for students who were in first year. You know how that is. They're your go-to person. They're the person in your practicum, not in your practicum, but they're your go-to person who bridges essentially the faculty to the practicum. If you have questions or concerns, the field instructors also go to the FFL. And for advanced standing students, you had somebody in that role. It may not have had the name faculty field liaison, but they perform that role also. They're your go-to person. In the past, the students meet with their FFL 4 times a year, academic year, at the faculty. Most likely that's not going to happen. They will occur by virtual attendance, and it's expected. You're going to find the name of your FFL on your past profile. It's a bit early, we haven't done it yet, but you will find their name. And as I said, how to get information, the website, the practicum schedule, always go to the website, practicum opportunities, updated COVID-19 information, the FAQs. Please read the practicum manual. Also, you'll receive emails from the Practicum office, our associate dean, and our dean's offices. Also, we'll be giving you information as it comes along. And just enjoy the journey. It's a different journey this year, but we hope that it'll be equally rich. Okay, I'm open to questions. Just let me say, I hope that I answered some of the questions that had come ahead of time. Thank you for the people that submitted. I hope that I have answered some of those ahead of time as I went through the slides. If you're feeling that your questions are still not answered, as I said, just email us and we'll do it one-to-one. Catherine, anything?
Yeah, we have a few questions. So I'm going to read some questions that have been entered in the chat, and Mindy will address them as best she can. I think if any that we can't address right now, we can answer them and put them on the website. First one is there a deadline for completion of the COVID training on Quercus?
Look, it has to be before Practicum starts, but I haven't read it. The instructions are very clear at the beginning, and you're going to see once you have access, and you're going to have access either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. It's very clearly laid out. The expectations are laid out. The time frame is laid out completely when you open it.
Okay. If we want to do a placement outside of Toronto, how does that work if classes go back to in-person in the winter?
Yeah, it depends on when you start. If we think about it, if you start in your home community and you can get your 337.5 or the number of hours that you and your field instructor negotiated completed by December, it's a non-issue. If you have to come to Toronto to start your practicum start your classes in person in January, your practicum will have been completed and behind you. If in fact you're starting later and you're starting in your home community and then you have classes are in person, we'd have to see how your setting, the organization where you started your practicum, if they can continue remotely with you. Because if you have to be in Toronto for your classes, you have to do your classes are the priority too, right? So you have to have your classes. We'd have to see what's possible. I don't know. But what I do know there are a number of students who have elected practicums in their community that are starting soon. And when we did our number crunching, we figured they'd be finished by December. So in-person in-person classes may not be an issue if they have to relocate to Toronto.
Okay, there are several questions about the U of T email and logging onto the PASS. So you don't need to have a U of T email to log onto the PASS, and I believe someone else answered that in the chat. When you first log on to the PASS, you're going to use as your username the email address that you used to register for the program, whatever personal email you used. Then you can click on Retrieve Forgot Password just below, and you'll get a temporary password in your email. So if you don't have your U of T email yet, that's okay. You can still log on to the PASS. Someone else asked if you can log on to the PASS now. You can log on to the PASS now just to see if it works, but you won't be able to see the practicums until July 22nd.
Catherine, can I just interrupt?
Yes.
I think a number of students are also asking about how to get their UToronto email. So I would suggest any students just Google, how do I get my T card? Because your T card is your UTOR ID, which gets you your UToronto email. And they have very specific instructions. You used to have to do it in person. You don't now. You have to send in a photograph and then you have to make an appointment with someone. I know students who've already done it. It sounds confusing, but it isn't. So just Google, how do I get my T card? And follow the instructions for being a newly admitted student.
Okay, thanks, Megan. Thank you. I didn't know that. Okay, so next practicum question. Considering the strong possibility of a second wave during the fall winter, how will this impact students who are completing in-person practicums? Will they be pulled out of practicum settings like in the first year and then continue remotely?
Maybe. Oh, no, we don't know. I absolutely don't know. Everyday things change. And right now, the directives have just changed to in-person with these very, very, very strict protective measures. It may occur that it just happened because in March, when we got the lockdown, students who were in person had to flip over to remote to complete their practicum. We had a number, both our cohorts were in that situation. Our year one and our year two were in that situation, and it was dealt with. I don't know what's going to happen if that happens. We have a track record now, we have experience with it, but I have no answer for that.
Okay. Last year I was matched with a supervisor who is no longer offering a practicum. Was there a confirmation process where all supervisors were contacted to ensure they are indeed still offering a placement this year to prevent this from happening again?
I'm not sure what your question is. Is it that you were confirmed to start with a field instructor and they unfortunately had to withdraw?
Yes.
You think that's it?
Yeah.
That may happen. Unexpectedly and regrettably, we have no control over what happens. It could have been a personal situation. She could have gotten directives from her own organization. It's unfortunate. I know they don't like it to happen, but sometimes that just happens. Same thing as I said, organizations regrettably withdraw. They don't want to either. It just happens. That's where our flexibility clicks in, and our ability to sustain, crises and to deal with crises.
But yes, this field instructors are contacted multiple times to
Yes.
confirm practicums before we open the pass. That's a yes there. Next, do we have to select practica from our field of study?
Pretty well, because your courses, your classes marry with your field of study. There, you know, there's an interchange. We're an integrated faculty. If you took a practicum that was really divorced from your field of study and the classes you're taking, it may be difficult to do the projects and to do the work that's expected. So certainly that should be the first priority, is your field of study. If there's something that you see that you're curious to know why it isn't in your field of study, because it makes sense that the way you read it, it could be in the field of study, I'll probably be able to tell you why not. Because some field instructors are very clear when they select, because they're the ones that select the field of study, they're very clear that they want it to be only for students in a particular field of study. And they are not prepared to change their mind or add or make different selections.
Okay. Will field instructors get matched with multiple students and choose one student after the interviews?
No. Each student is paired with one practicum, and one field instructor, and sometimes it's a co-supervision model, so it's two field instructors. It's one-to-one. It's a one-on-one situation. Except for the ones that are on the website that we talked about are competitive. That we know are open to other organizations.
Okay, is it official that both practicum and courses, I guess classes, will be online September 2020 to April 2021?
I can't speak to the classes. I could speak to, my understanding is that from September to December, they're online.
Yeah.
But I can't speak to after that. And that's something you may want to check with the Associate Dean's office, David Burns. And in terms of practicum, as I said, we now have directives that is in person with strict protective measures. Could we go remote again? Possibly, but I can't think about the future because none of us know what it's going to look like.
Okay. For Quercus to proceed in doing the practicum training, do we need a U of T email?
You need to be registered in the class.
Yeah. Okay. Does the PASS take collaborative specializations into account, or do students need to ensure the practicum meets the requirements before adding it to our list?
The PASS does not take a student's collaborative program into account. It is up to the students to make selections, to make 5 selections that would meet the expectations of their collaborative program.
Okay.
Having said that, if there's, if you need to talk about it, if there's a if you're in a collaborative program and you're wondering about it, just contact us in the practicum office. We'll see what the status is, and we'll try and strategize how to get you. If you're in a collaborative program, we also want you to have a practicum that meets the requirements.
Okay, where and how do we get the N95 mask fitting process going?
As I said, typically it would have been St. Michael's Clinic, but as one of the slides earlier said, they put a moratorium on the mask fitting right now. But that's where we have asked students to go. So you could try the applications on our website. What St. Mike's Clinic is asking is on our website. You're welcome to try. Our understanding is that they have right now put a moratorium on students accessing, getting measured. You have to get fitted for it. And when you're fitted, you get fitted and you get a card that gives your number and gives the expiry date. You're welcome to contact them for sure.
Okay. Do second year students have to resubmit healthcare setting forms, N95, immunization, police check, etc.?
If immunization was completed in year 1 and signed off positively by our external nurse, no, you do not have to go through the process again. In terms of your mask fitting, you have to see what the expiry date on the card is to double check whether you need another fitting. In terms of the vulnerable sector, for everybody, most settings want currency. They want a vulnerable sector screening outcome at least 6 months, sometimes a year, within a year. Many from last year probably have expired and a new one will be required.
Okay. Is it possible to decline a match if for some reason it turns out not to be the right fit?
As I said before, if for some reason it really, you or your field instructor feel that it is not a match that would help you be successful, yes, but we have to talk. The field instructors know they have to talk to us, and yes, contact the Practicum office and we'll talk about it for sure. If there's a reason that it doesn't work, we'll talk about it.
Okay, there's some more questions about the Quercus modules. I believe that you will receive in your email an invitation to join the course tomorrow. So you just click on the invitation and you can start the course. I think we've answered all those questions.
Yeah.
If you're registered for the course, then you're going to automatically get the invitation tomorrow.
Right.
Will any of the UHN hospitals be offering practicums to social work students?
Yes. Yes, but as I said before, the number that they offered in the past is going to be, I suspect, less than has been the case, because they're cognizant of physical distancing. So they may be offering, but it just may not be the same quantity that we've had in the past.
Okay, and then we have, can we see the checklist that you will be sharing with the practicum setting, please?
Well, we're working on it right now. We're working on it, and it's very fulsome, and it's taking information from the university, the expectations, because university has expectations for all allied health professions, docs and nurses and students, PT students, OT students. So we're taking information from that, and we're making sure that it, again, covers the safety and security of our social work students.
Yeah, there's a few questions the same, I think, asking about, will we resent these measures? There is an email in the works right now for students that's going to outline all the safety measures and requirements, and I believe it's coming today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is the practicum randomly selected from the 5 practicum choices, or is it based on other requirements? If so, what are those requirements?
You have complete control of the 5 that you're selecting. The computer program only uses the 5 that you're selecting. There's no resume involved. We in the Practicum office have we're not part of it at all. It's totally up to you to make the 5 selections. When you read them, can you meet the requirements? Does it meet your learning goals? Is it a sector that is going to enrich your social work practice? There are lots of reasons that you can decide to select the 5. And then once you put them in on Form A, the computer program will run it. And as I mentioned, it's totally mathematical and objective. The computer program is looking to match as many people with one of their 5, as many people in your class with one of your 5 selections.
Okay, I think this is similar. You may have answered it. The more popular practicums we choose, the less opportunities there will be to get it. It's a question. If five practicums we chose are popular ones, could we get 0 interviews?
Yes. From the computer program, yes, 0 interviews may occur. However, the next step is we invite you again to go back to the past and look at what's there and available. And on a daily basis, email new selections to us. And as I mentioned before, all new ones that are trickling in, and they will continue to trickle in as organizations continue to get themselves, regrouped after this situation. All the ones that are going to trickle in are absolutely protected only for students who got a 0 match at the computer run.
Okay. How will our previous supervisor's final evaluation impact our matching?
0. They have the matching is the field instructor did their piece. You did your self-evaluation piece. We've put year 1 to rest. If you got a credit, you're moving on to year 2. And you're selecting the 5 that work for you in terms of the trajectory for your social work profession, where you want to go. The field instructors has no bearing.
Okay. For those of us going into year 2, when can we expect to see the credit for year 1 practicum on Acorn?
I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that. It's a Sharon Buell, our registrar, question. I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to give you misinformation on that.
Yeah, it's at the end of the academic semester when you did your practicum, but it's better to ask Sharon that one.
Sharon, yeah.
Next is it possible if I choose less than 5 choices, if some of them I don't really want to go to? Can you choose less than 5?
No. The Form A will not be accepted. You must select 5. It will not accept less than 5.
Okay. The 5 that we choose are not ranked in that the first one is not our first choice. Is it weighted equally as the 5th one? How does the ranking work?
It is ranked. We try, because the program will look to see your first. You may end up getting your 5th, but it's still one of your 5 selections. But it is programmed to be ranked.
Okay, I think that's it. One more question about the U of T email. Again, your username is your personal email address that you use to register with the program. So once you've logged in and you click on forgot retrieve password, you get your password, you log back in, then you can change your password to whatever you want. You can also change your email address. So if you have received your UTOR email address, please change your username to your UTOR email address. We are required to only communicate with the university email addresses, so please, when you get it, do change it in the pass. Okay. Can we apply for competitive practicums as well as use the pass system?
Yes, and you have to inform us. You must inform us that you have made an application for any one of the practicums on the website, competitive, out of the GTA, whatever practicums that are of interest to you that you're seeing on the website, you must tell us. We need to know.
Okay. And then second part, if we get selected for a competitive practicum, can we reject a pass match?
If you have an application and you get an interview and you're offered a practicum, you have to give them an answer within a week. They really want the answer within a week. If you do say yes to them, then if you have not started the PAS process, you need not go through it. If you have started the PAS process and then you accepted the one of the practicums listed on the website, yes, of course, you can't, you can't have two practicums going on. And we'll work it out. We'll inform the field instructor that you're not going, the past field instructor, that you're not going forward with it.
Okay. Are there any preparations being made in case students have to go back to doing their practicum remotely?
Well, we have, as I said before, we have loads of experience because we managed to have the year 1 cohort and the year 2 cohort complete their practicums remotely. And that was like literally on one knee at the last minute. We've had a lot of opportunity to think about it and to plan about it. If that's the case, we are well prepared proactively, more than we certainly were in March 15th.
Yeah. Okay, there's one last question, I think, and then I think our time's up. Okay. Is it a choice to have our practicum remote or in person?
The organization's going to drive it.
Yeah. You'll see on the pass.
Yeah. If the organization is open to remote practicum, if, for example, you don't want to travel, and they're open, we'll work that out. We'll work it out. But each setting, what I'm finding is that many of the organizations now are trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out how to flip back from the remote work that they've been doing to in-person. Some will be successful and will be able to do in-person. Some will feel that remote has been working exceptionally well, and it has been for a number of organizations. They may choose to have a good part of the practicum remote. It's hard to give you a definitive answer.
Okay, and there's one last question about N95 masks. If there's a hold on N95 masks, how will this impact students who will be doing in-person practicums in hospital settings?
Yeah, we're aware of it. We have to figure it out. I mean, we have to figure out how we could have that happen. Because as you imagine, N95 right now is the priority for the frontline healthcare workers in hospitals. So we're working with the hospital, with the education coordinators of the hospitals to see what we can do.
Okay, and that's it for questions in the chat.
Okay, everybody, if there are other questions, as Catherine said, the FAQs probably will answer a lot of them. If you can't find your answers on any of the options we have on the website, just email us and we'll see what we can do. I had a few questions yesterday that were very detailed, and I just called people, and that's okay. We'll just talk about it, and that's fine. Everybody take care, be safe, and contact us. All the best, everybody.